Hey, today I'm talking about 3 iconic films starring and directed by one Sir Charles Chaplin. And the names of those 3 films are Modern Times, The Great Dictator, and City Lights. First up is Modern Times. This is a 1936 sort of silent film. It does have a little bit of voice work, but it's always through like a machine. So it's mostly a silent film, but I don't recall if it had any like cards that popped up on screen. Anyway, it's great. I really freaking loved it. This movie easily transcends time. Its political messaging and humor are timeless, and just everything about this movie really clicked for me. The humor was really spot on. The political commentary was great. It moved at such a great pace. Like, even if a joke didn't work for me, it was just on to the next one, like right away. I think almost every single joke just crushed it. The premise is Charlie Chaplin is just struggling to exist in these modern industrialized times. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And it seems kind of like it's man's misuse of technology is the reason why everything's just shit. Looking at you, Henry Ford. And like, man, yeah, no, it's so good. It's fun, it's funny, it's interesting, it makes you think about the futility of life and like what is the purpose of life and all that stuff. I really, really love Paulette Goddard. She crushed it here. Like, she's such an interesting, strong-willed character. I mean, obviously she's beautiful. I definitely fell in love with her, but like, she's such a fully realized and interesting character who also just so happens to have a smile that will melt your heart. Yeah, no, just really everything about this movie just shined for me. I really, truly loved it, and without a doubt recommend it. If you're gonna watch just one of these movies, do yourself a favor and watch this one. It's perfect, it's great. It's an amazing film that definitely deserves all of the praise that it has gotten over the last century. Next up is The Great Dictator. This is a 1940 film that's just about Hitler. The whole thing's just Hitler. They're not hiding it even a little bit. And this film's really interesting. The most iconic thing from this movie is the 5-minute speech that Charlie Chaplin's character gives at the end. It's basically just a big speech about, we should give peace a chance, right? Come on, peace, fascism. I feel like we could all get behind this. And that definitely is a really, really great moment. My personal favorite moment, though, is actually fairly early in the film when Paulette Goddard's character stands up to a bunch of stormtroopers, which, quick aside, I know stormtroopers are a real life thing, but it always just throws me when I hear it in regular real life context. Anyway, she stood up to some stormtroopers, and then in retaliation, they pelted her with a bunch of tomatoes, and it's real sad. I enjoyed this movie a good solid amount. I don't feel like the movie went at a pace that I wanted it to. It kind of stayed in jokes longer than worked for me, and less jokes worked for me. And it kind of makes me feel like this film would have worked more for me had it gone either more hard into the comedy aspect or more hard into the political aspect, as in if it was more just a straight up drama. And it definitely is at times, but I mean just like the whole thing of kind of really, almost in a sense, beating you over the head with just how terrible fascism is and making you feel bad. It does do that, but it also like makes fun of the situation, which I think does work, but doesn't work for me as well as I think it could have. Okay, anyway, so would I recommend this movie? Yeah, totally. It's definitely a really great classic. At the very least, look up the ending monologue. It's well worth a watch. Though I do think you'll get more out of it in context of the movie, I think you can still enjoy it a lot out of context of the movie. The political messaging of the film definitely transcends time again, so yes, it's well worth a watch. And lastly is City Lights. This is a 1931 silent film, and many consider it his best film, and it's a lot of iconic directors' favorite film, especially of his, and it's fine. I enjoyed it. It's a quite liked. It's a quite like, so it's a 4 out of 5 for me, don't get me wrong. It's a silent film, so like, it's a different kind of beast, and it's one that I'm not particularly trained with. Like, when you're dealing with other types of films, whether it be a foreign language film, or experimental film, or for a silent film. You gotta put yourself in the right mindset. It's not necessarily something you've seen a lot of, so you have to kind of get used to this new language of filmmaking. I do think that is part of like the hurdle I had to cross to get into this movie, and I don't think I quite cleared it. There's definitely some like really great, fantastic jokes in here and incredible setups. Like one of my favorite recurring jokes is the one with the millionaire who only recognizes the tramp when he's drunk, and when he's sober he has no idea who it is. That's hilarious. I love it. There's definitely a lot to like about this movie. I just don't have a lot to say on it just because I didn't personally connect to it as much as the other two films. It's definitely still a good film that's worth a watch, but like, I feel like he just crushed it so much with Modern Times. He really found his voice in his own with that movie that like, I don't really see myself coming back to this one. Not because it's bad, but just because like Modern Times just shines so much for me. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely still good and worth a watch, so I would recommend it. Though if you're gonna watch just one, just watch Modern Times. But I would still encourage you to watch the other two films because they are considered classics and for a very good reason. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Modern Times sitting at number 1 in the really like section. And then after that is The Great Dictator sitting number 2 in the quite like section. And then bringing up the rear is City Lights sitting number 3, also in the quite like section. And this is out of a total of 3 old movies so far this year.